Do a sound check. Uh, it looks like Edward's live too. What we got? Are we live? Perfect. Alrighty. On today's discussion, we have a brother in this space, Jesse Veal. I've met him through the Telegram group and been talking to him for quite a bit of time. And in that group, I brought up the topic of blue pill tricking and how I look at what a lot of men are doing. Even in a blue pill, I'm paying for the dates. I'm doing things to, get this woman, giving her the game or what have you. I still look at it as tricking because at the end of the day, you're paying for access to her vagina. And when I see something like that, that still looks like tricking. And I'm not trying to, conflate the two, tricking and just blue pill tricking. But when I look at, a relationship with a woman and trying to do more with her, if you're really trying to get with a woman for long term, I think it should be an investment. And I think it should be more than just sex. I think also that as men, we know what a woman or how we categorize a woman, just like a woman knows how she categorizes a man. Is he a person for the friend zone? Is he a person that is a utility to me? Or is he a person that I want to spend the rest of my life and help raise my children or just be a baby daddy? When I look at something like that, I see a lot of men doing things where ultimately they're wasting their time just so they can get some vag. Um, so I brought that into the Telegram talking about it, and I had a back and forth with him and just talking about it, exploring it a little bit more. So, brother Jesse, so you're off mute now. Go ahead and tell me what your thoughts are on that, and we can start from there.
Okay. So first of all, I would say I do agree that it can be a waste of time of money in that regard. For me, it depends on the context, right? So I do think it's a waste of time if a guy is saying, okay, well, I'm going to pay for dates, I'm going to pay for dinner, and all of these type of things for a woman for the sole purpose of having sex, right? That's tricking, it's definitely tricking. I do think there's a difference in context. Well, let's say if you're someone that likes to go to and do certain things, like if you like to go out to eat, if you like to, go to museums or, go out for drinking, and you extend an invitation with a woman that you generally like and, enjoy companionship with, and that you are, wanting to just enjoy their company. I think in that context, you're more so taking a woman along for the ride and just doing what you want to do. I mean, that's pretty much how I date. I feel like if a woman say like, "Hey, let's go here on a date," like I'm assuming that she's going to be paying, right? Like when I go on dates, I do what I'm going to do anyway. It's just that I have her, or I would have a woman with me that, maybe it's a woman I enjoy the conversation, of course, attracted to them, et cetera, et cetera. And so I think that's the different in viewpoint that maybe we have, is that I don't think that, okay, any situation where you're paying for a woman's food or what have you, that is necessarily tricking. I just think it's tricking in the if your context and your reason for doing it is strictly for sex. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And that's kind of the distinction, small but large. I mean, or is the main distinction here is what is the purpose? If I take a woman out just for my entertainment or to add to my entertainment, yeah, I think that's something that is I don't think that's really tricking or anything like that. But if at the end of all this, I just want to have sex with her, and this is me working towards that end goal, then I mean, how do you think about that? I mean, is it tricking? Like, yes, no, and why or why not?
Yeah, it's definitely tricking. I think they call that soft shoe tricking in the hood. You know?
Yeah, no, I like that term. That goes to the Gen X boomer demographic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've heard that term before. Cool.
So it's definitely it's definitely tricking because the tenant is like, okay, I'm using paying for these things to get sex, right? Tricking is pretty much anytime you use you pay for sex basically. And so no, you're not directly saying, hey, I'm going to give you this amount of money to have sex with you. You're just kind of, you kind of have a middleman. You have the actual things that she may want for the sex. So I don't really agree with that. Personally, I don't do. I mean, all right, okay. I'll say this: when I was younger, like I have a lot of influence from a lot of guys, that are like pimps and players and things of that nature. So I had a disdain toward tricking for many years. As I get older, I can understand a little bit more. I can understand a little bit more if you're like an older guy, like you don't want to go through the process of like getting to know a woman and you just want to get off. I understand that it could be a lot easier just to be like, yeah, okay, here's $50, here's $40. You know what I mean? And so I don't disparage guys in the way that maybe I would. I wouldn't use trick in a negative connotation, but I personally have never tricked. That's just my personal preference.
Well, I definitely have, but can you go into the disdain that you had earlier on? Can you explain it a little bit more if you can remember?
So I mean, it basically was just as a
also what you learned
or a player, it was like you had a negative attitude towards guys that trick because it was like they were viewed as lesser than because they were. I mean, you always say this term like these guys are getting tricked into paying what I can get for free. Because if you're a pimp or a player, you're getting a woman based on your vernacular, your mouthpiece, the things that you're saying, how you dress, and all of these things. But it's like, okay, all I have to do is these things, and I can get the woman, but you have to pay her, $200-$300 or what have you. And so there was always, especially back in those days, like a lot of older guys that I kind of was influenced by. They definitely had a disdain towards trick. Like there was you appreciated that they were your clientele, but it was like, it was considered that the trick was down here and the pimp was up there. You know what I mean? And so I kind of adopted, even though I never pimp, I've applied pimp game or pimp, behaviors and tactics as a square. You know what I'm saying?
So, what are your thoughts about using pimp player game even in a relationship that you're taking seriously, a woman that you're investing in? This kind of points to what BGS has talked about in the Russell Wilson back and forth, and we could touch on that if you'd like.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, so there's like some things that you can't really translate being a square / being a pimp. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's still women. It's still, I mean, all game really is like tried and true methods. Like if you look at everything we do in the world, like let's say looking at a carpenter, like it's probably been thousands of years. They've tried different ways and they found out, okay, this is the best way to do it. You know what I mean? That's all it really is when you think about it. It's just like, thousands of years, like, okay, we said this to the woman, this thing that we said it worked, you know what I mean? But the interesting thing about as far as male-female relations is that it's constantly evolving because like a lot of stuff, if they heard it before, it becomes ineffective. So it's like, I mean, you probably heard dudes say like line as a chick, and it'd be like, oh, well, that's corny, because it's been used so many times.
Right.
And so I think, using pimp game for like deal with square women definitely has been effective for me. I'll just say that,
Well, yeah,
because it's the same psychology. A woman is a woman at the end of the day, right? There are differences as far as values and behaviors and stuff like that, but the psychology in general is mostly the same, right?
And I think that's the important part is the psychology. Maybe that's the new game is actually playing, sadly, the psychological games. Like, um, not just the okay, don't show you like her and push her on the playground, but show that. I think it's something that Donovan Sharp harps on, like make her earn you, and you're the prize. And not just you're the prize, and like hell, I'm better. Just you're the prize. You're the one that should be coveted. You're the one that is acquiring her. She's not acquiring you, and but she does have to maintain a relationship if she actually has access to you, things like that. And I think that's something that is kind of the new game, if you will. That's what we're seeing a little bit more of.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's when you really look at it, man. Even like the pickup artist thing, because I used to be like in my teens and like early 20s, and I used to be heavy into that game. But a lot of that comes from black pimps, out throughout the United States. I mean, and to be honest with you, um, the game is having some type of game is essential in the Western world, right? So like mouthpiece probably really won't get you as far in like other countries, but like in Western countries, it can definitely it's almost mandatory unless you're using another type of game. So it's like you'd have to have a mouthpiece. You'd have to have, like as Ron Will says, a body game. Where you just pretty much attract women off your raw sexual attraction. You have to have money. You have to have one of those. I kind of had it metaphorically with the infinity stones and an infinity gauntlet.
Right,
Where
right.
it's like if you have all five: game, fitness, handsomeness, money, and et cetera, it's like ultimate guy. Like if you're like a guy like Drake or well, yeah, that's what it is. It's like a game, fitness, money, clout, and
Cloud is
facial features. So clout is actually one of those big ones, man.
that's status, right? I mean,
Yeah, status. Yeah, status.
Yeah, because that sounds like Captain Planet. With our powers combined, I could be that.
Right. I mean, when you really think about it, like when you think about the dating market, well, this is how I kind of view it. When I think about the dating market, every guy has a combination of one or more of these, five that I mentioned, but only the top guys really have all five of those. And so the guy that I kind of look towards is like a Drake, you know what I mean? Somebody on that level that's like, the dude, after he got slapped up by Diddy a couple years ago, he started working out and getting in shape. He started getting swole on us. So, once you get to that level, but it's even as guys on the Western world, it's still like I say it goes by percentages. Like, let's say a guy like Drake, let's say if he's the top tier guy, maybe he still has a certain percentage of women that he'll never be able to get, even at his level. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, women that'll never come off of their high horse of dealing with maybe a billionaire or something like that. And also women that would, if not just mess with them, but would, if they do mess with him, they would never claim him because it will be seen as less than, beneath.
Right. Absolutely. And so that's that's just the kind of hierarchy that we deal in. But you gotta have something to offer a woman, as a lot of older pimps will say, man. She gotta like something about you, man.
Right. So then, in terms of the Infinity Gauntlet, what is probably the most powerful stone in your Infinity Gauntlet of the that nigga Infinity Gauntlet? Like, what would be the most powerful stone that you wield or covet amongst all? Is it the reality stone, aka change these bitches' lives? I don't know.
You're asking like me personally?
Yeah, like
okay.
For you personally, and even if you need to go general with it in terms of like other people that players and pimps that you talk to, what's the stone that they would probably wield or feel is the highest or best?
For pimps, definitely mouthpiece. For me, I think that the status is the highest because it's like I mean I've been able to experience it on like smaller scales because I used to throw parties during and after college. So it's like with status, like women come to you, bro. Like it's like you know what I mean. Like I remember I have chicks. I've never seen these chicks in my life, like gorgeous chicks that'll just come up to me like, "Hey, you Jesse, right?" Da 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 da. And it's like they just, that it makes it a lot easier for you with the status, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, because you're already in, or you've already approached her in a sense, or gotten past a couple checks and balances. Because it's funny, like we were talking, we were joking before we started the stream, and I was like, "God dang it, your avatar looks better than me." I might have to cancel the stream, man. And and that's important because you have that look to your. Let me tuck in my beard there, but you have that look, that would also attract women, not just your reputation preceding you, but that look as well.
Right, yeah. I mean, I try to work on as much as I can, man. I mean, but that's the hard part, right? It's like when you think about having all 5 Infinity Stones, so to speak, or is it 5 or 6? Can't remember.
I think it's 5, yeah, because one
or
something like that. Or actually, maybe it's 6 because I think there's one in the middle.
Right. So having all of those things that can get you the most women possible. It's like being Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to have all of these offensive moves and be excellent at defense as well. Like to do all of these aspects of the game, it's extremely hard. You know what I mean?
So that brings up another thing. The recent talk of a high value man and how a high value man is a team builder, a person that says, "Hey, listen, I don't have this aspect or this stone, but I do have the capability of making a team that does have that." And a little bit about me before we get into that is that I've built teams to start businesses, like my hair salon. I built a team where we actually put in about $100,000 a piece between credit, cash, and different loans and stuff like that, like credit cards and different loans. Before that, I built a team, built a team and put things together to make my computer consulting company at the age of like 24. Just saying, "Hey, listen, work with my business partner," and then a couple of years later, and did that for 10 years. A couple of years later, into that 10 years, I think the last 4 years or so, we had another partner. So it's like, bringing all those people in to say, let's start a business, and being able to keep everybody together in terms of what is the goal, what is the vision. So back to the question is, talking about a high value man being able to make up for his shortcomings by building a team around him. I want you to talk on that if you can, please.
Yeah, I mean, so we're all human, right? We all have what they call blind spots in like psychology. So building a team is extremely important to be able to cover those blind spots. And I really didn't understand that until I experienced it in like partnership in terms of like business partnerships that I've had, as well as even in intimate relationships, because you really have to see it that way. Like I would notice like one thing I like to do in relationships, which is kind of different. I never heard of. So I like to like chicks that I'm like serious with, I like to play cooperative games with them so I can see how they work as a team player. So like we'll have like there's like a whole world of board games out there, right? Where it's like, instead of playing against each other, you actually play against kind of the board itself, right? And so when I play these games,
Dungeons and Dragons with women, like this is, I'm liking this. Nerds, stand up.
So we would play like board games, and I would be surprised at the moves that they would suggest making. Like, instead of doing this and this, how don't we do that or this? And it made me realize, like, okay, as smart as I am, there's certain blind spots that I have, and there's certain other perspectives that other people could bring, and that's one of the reasons that make teams so powerful, especially in business. Like even when you look at business school, getting the MBA. From my knowledge, all business schools, you're actually working in groups and teams throughout the whole business school. Like you're in teams of like 4 or 5, 6, something like that, and you guys are working together throughout the whole business school. Even if you look at the statistics on business, the lowest performing businesses are solopreneurship businesses.
Right.
You know what I mean? They bring in the least revenue compared to, partnerships and corporations and things of that nature, because you're literally compounding the intellectual capital of all of those employees and contractors that you're using, right? So it's definitely very important in life to build a team for that reason. You have blind spots, and you have different people have different strengths and weaknesses that they can bring to the team, different ideas that you may not think of,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's important because there's also a time aspect, which is the other part of this whole discussion is, the value of time, the value of your time as just an individual man. But in terms of time, when it comes to business, like I've had it to where, you only have 24 hours a day, but 8 of those you're going to have to sleep. So 6 to 8 of those you're going to have to sleep. For me, it's like 4 and naps in between, right? But at some point you're going to have to sleep, rest, recharge your batteries, but work still has to be done. And then there's by the time you wake up, the deadline has been reached, but you can't work while you sleep. So you have to actually have someone else that is there to actually assist you in some way, shape, or form. And I think that's what's important, and a lot of people miss about, proper partnerships and the importance of picking the right partners in business, and then of course that, relates into relationships as well, depending on, what you're trying to do with that. Something Kevin Samuel said, and I'll move on from that, but something Kevin Samuel said in one of his recent streams is, hiring your wife, and, a man will give his wife a purpose, will give his wife a job. And it was kind of funny because I was looking at, I've been thinking about this for a couple months now or something like that. And he may have said it before, but I was thinking about this for a couple months now. And it was really about, okay, if I have a wife, what would be the job that they give her? And I automatically think wealth management. Mm-hmm. So I asked you, if you had a wife, what would be the job that you give her in the family?
So, when I have a wife or wives, what I'll have her or them doing, not so much as wealth management, but I want them to take care of a lot of the family aspects. So taking care of the children, dealing with the homes, primarily the female children. Also, one big thing that I want them to do is to work on our charitable foundation. So I want them to spearhead that venture that I want to do, and so creating a charitable foundation. So I would like them to kind of manage that. And I'm getting real. I stole this idea from a bunch of rich people, right?
Okay.
So I don't believe in the whole women managing wealth thing personally. I know a lot of guys think that, but I get a little offended when chicks be like, oh, if I have a husband, I'll help grow his money. I just don't have faith in a lot of these women to do that personally. Like, it's like, okay, if you could grow my money, why you didn't grow your own damn money? Come on now. If it's a wife where it's like, okay, she didn't work in corporate finance or something for like 10 years, that's different, right?
Right.
But
let me see your portfolio before you try talking shit about mine or whatever.
Right, because it kills me, man. I hear so many chicks say that, and it sounds good. It sounds great on at first sight or what have you, at first hearing it, it sounds a very good answer, but it's like, what do you really have? Like, what experience do you have in this? What do you really have to show for this? So for me, like, I mean, all women are good at giving away money, right? So I think it's having a charitable foundation is, it's good for the family image, right? It's good to have your wife having something that she can feel like she can do and be a part of. But also, I would use it as a bridge for my grandchildren to work with, my wife, myself. And so it would be something that the grandparents within the family, the older people in the family can do in conjunction with the children to kind of help them understand the importance of philanthropy and money management and things of that nature.
Passing of the torch, passing of knowledge, and things like that.
Exactly. Like I say, I stole that shit from several wealthy families. They do it, so I can't even take credit for it. It's an excellent idea.
Well, that's fine, right? Because like this is what is supposed to happen in the communication between human beings is that we take the best aspects and things like that, and not just the things that entertain us, not just the things that make us feel good in the short term. Right. But when I think about like giving my wife a job or something like that, right? Like have a wife, okay, cool. Wealth management. All right, cool. First, we start with budgeting, right? Okay, making sure that the money that's coming in is budgeted to the right places. Then I look at some of the other things that I want to do. Then we start with the next level up from the little stuff, which is handling the retirement accounts and looking at those and making sure that we're making the right and prudent investments from there. Once that's done, then we graduate onto the next thing, which is handling your more risky accounts. So that's your cryptocurrency accounts, things that are making you money in short term that are highly volatile. Along a part of that, and I'm not a real estate person myself, I don't really want to get into that in terms of like houses. But the next thing is getting into like land ownership, which is the next thing that I envision myself getting into. Like there's about 30 acres to the side of me that I want to buy, but the county, I showed interest, but the county was like, nah, I don't like it. So, I'm looking at that. It's like, okay, cool. I want to buy this county property over here. It's like 29.88 acres. And it's all trees and then a crap ton of water and it floods, which is perfect for planting loblolly pine. So, okay, managing the timetable of, every 2 to 3 years harvesting the pine straw, every 10, 15 years going ahead and thinning out the crop so that you can actually have a healthy crop and then selling the trees so you can make like paper products and light poles and all this other stuff. Like thinking about stuff like that and teaching her, okay, this is what we need to ensure that we're good now. And then also the things that are going to be good for us into the future for us and our children and making sure that, we have enough money to pay for college and all that other stuff. Right. So that's the type of thing I think about when it comes to, like teaching her that, like not even saying like, oh, okay, what do you do? Like, no. This is what we're going to do. I just need you to watch it. So I don't have to, and I can focus on this other stuff. But,
right. And that's something that I'm, recently I have contemplated in terms of how much should I teach them and how much I should not teach them, that's something I'm still kind of working on. What's that?
Do you feel there's information that you should hold back?
I do think there's some information
Is that your other aspect of being like Drake? I'm not trying to hide the world. I'm not trying to hide you from the world. I'm trying to hide you from the world or something. I'm trying to protect you from the world.
I hate to say it, but I do think there are some things that maybe you should keep for yourself. It's like, in dealing with anyone, you don't want to, you can teach them all that they know, but you don't want to teach them all that you know. Because it could make yourself less valuable, I would say. Because it's all, I'm not saying all women are like this, but women kind of have this thing where it's like, okay, well, I I think women respect you more when you do stuff that they either don't know how to do or that they can't do.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I've always kind of contemplated like, okay, I think one of the issues in Western society is that because women know more than women in the past, women now know more than women in the past, they don't see as much utility for men now, like outside of, biological imperatives and things of that nature. Like a lot of the reasons for this alliance that we call marriage between men and women were for like practical reasons, provisions, protection, et cetera, et cetera. But now that a lot of those things are coming at obsolete, it's like, what do I need a man for besides kids, consistent sex, and
Yeah,
stuff
and
like that?
a lot of that stuff gets called into question. But then at the end of like 40 or when you're going towards your 40s as a woman, it's just like, oh, that's why I need them, like because you just can't do it, So
Yeah,
like,
it's funny the stupid stuff that our women find valuable in men. Because I remember this chick I was dating. She's not even ADOS, but she was like, "Damn, I was she was flying back home, and she was like, "Damn, I miss having a man around, like when I was helping her with her bags and shit." Because that's the thing that kills me. This is a side.
But that's the thing that hits them, or that's what hits women, is that those times when they don't have that, and it also hits men in certain ways too. Not to be fair and balanced or anything. Richard Dixon, what's up, man? I appreciate you showing up for this stream, brother. We're just discussing some things. Be sure to catch the playback whenever you can.
I was gonna say, why do little bitty ass women have these big ass heavy ass suitcases all the time? That shit is hilarious to me.
I don't know. And the same thing with trucks. Like you see these small women hopping from Yukon Denali or some shit like that, where they need a ladder just to get back into it, and it's just like, come on, dude.
It's hilarious.
But I guess it's overcompensating for something, right? I don't know.
Let me say one last thing on that point. So, like, on the whole, like, what should I teach them? I also think that about my daughters, right? Like, I'm not saying I want my daughters to be dumb. I definitely want them to be well educated, but could I over-educate them to a point where it's like they feel like no man is good enough? Like, okay, I have a top 100 college education, and my dad taught me how to do this and taught me how to do that. So what's the need for a man besides companionship? I want my daughters to feel like, okay, I want to be interdependent with a man. Like I want to, use my strengths and he use his strengths to feel a positive relationship. Because I do notice that, like, there are some girls out there that they feel like their, dad is so damn dope. It's like it's hard for them to.
Yeah, it's like a big shoe to fill, if you will. So yeah, and I think about that too, because it's like my question to that is, so then would you pass that information on to her potential husband? So if you hold certain things back, would you possibly pass it on to her potential husband so he can learn? And go from there. I won't add any more.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I look at myself as a black patriarchal guy. My mindset is patriarchal, so like I believe that the knowledge should be passed on to the men, right? Not to say that women should be ignorant or just dumb, and uneducated, but a lot of
they have their roles.
Right. I think that it works. I think that male-female relations work better when they have their roles and the men have their roles. And it's complementary roles. It's not like, okay, you just meet with breasts. You know what I mean? Like we just have all the same skills and we just going to 50-50 everything. Like, okay, I'm going to wash 50% of the dishes. You wash 50% of the dishes. I'm going to cook half the time. You could. Nah, I don't think that really works. At least I know it doesn't work for me. I prefer like, okay.
Yeah, I feel
absolutely.
I feel that in a lot of cases that I believe in female agency. Don't take away their agency whatsoever. Always give them their agency, because their agency comes with responsibility and accountability, but also they're human beings. So that means that I'm not going to treat them like a slave. I'm not going to treat them as less than. I'm going to treat them as somebody that is not just an equal, but also has an important role in the family. I won't say it's more important, but I won't say it's less important. I feel that it's something that should be teamwork, but teamwork comes with the cooperation. And then also, at the end of the day, a team still has to have a captain, which I do feel, which I do believe and feel is the man. From
Absolutely.
Richard Dixon, you educate the daughters, but find a young man you think suitable for your daughters and overeducate him. Okay, I can feel that. I can feel that definitely, man. Because like at the end of the day, or at the end of your life, the sunset of your life, you're gonna have to pass certain things on, and you can't pass everything on. I think you should pass on aspects to your kids, and one of the aspects that you have to pass on to your daughters is the knowledge, but you pass that on through the man that she's with, and making sure that he's not only going to be there for her, but be there for the offspring and continue on the quote unquote greatness that you may have laid out, in one way, shape, or form. So definitely, Richard Dixon, I appreciate you, leaving the comment, brother. Um, so moving on to the second half, or the next bit of information, or the next bit in terms of the title, the value of time, the value of a man's time. Again, we started off with blue pill tricking, and how what a lot of men do in some cases is just another, like, they pay for dates, they pay for certain things, but they're not putting an investment into the woman for long term. They're looking to get the buns, the cheeks, the vag, the glory hole. Oh, okay, probably not that. That's a different. But
Whoa.
yeah, whoa. But they're looking to get these things. They're looking just to get sexual access from the woman, and essentially they are still paying for it. Now, people would disagree with that, and I totally understand that. This is my perspective on the matter, but that to me gets into the value of a man's time. Short story. In terms of my business, with my computer consulting business, Cisco certified, A+ certified. Now I do web development now, and Network Plus certified as well, Linux Plus certified. So when I look at my time and what my customers pay for, my customers would pay me 50 at the very lowest to $125 an hour. 50 for home users that were small things like fixing printers or whatever. I wouldn't hit them over the head too much, and then of course pay for travel. But then higher end customers, business customers, they would pay 100 on a regular, or 75 on a regular basis. Some customers 100, other customers 125, depending on the size of their organization. So when I look at my time per hour, I can make $50 to $125 an hour. When I look at it, you're not going to tell me that I'm going to have to spend all this time and all this money, or time and possibly money, just to get some buns. So when I look at the pursuit of sex, I look at it and I say, this doesn't make any sense. This dog doesn't hunt. Why am I spending so much time on this? And it's not bringing me further money. It's not bringing me further happiness in the end of it, because you still don't get the girl in some cases. And I feel that my time could be used. In other places, and better used in other ways. So your thoughts on that, and how do you think about that, or what do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree to a degree. The way I look at it is, you know, a man or a human needs work life balance. And when I say work life balance, I don't necessarily mean that, okay, I'm going to evenly split from all areas of life, 3 hours here, 3 hours there. No, I it's different for every person, right? So you need social time, with male friends and associates. You need social time with, intimate partners. And so you have to squeeze that in somewhere. Now, do I agree with like just, serial dating where it's just like, okay, I'm going out on dates with like 20 chicks, a week, and I'm just buying them all dinner, blah, 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 blah. I mean, I would say that most guys probably should spend the least amount of money that they can. and you have to really know what your intentions are. Like if you just dating just to have sex, like all right. So for me, I'm not a huge casual sex person. I prefer, for me, the sex is better when it's actual, nicely like you.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
connection. I can understand that.
Right. So I mean, we gotta have some type of connection. It doesn't have to be, Disney level, like.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
But
I mean, at the end of the day, even for me, what I've seen, the pussy gets wetter when she likes you, like plain and simple.
right, absolutely. So for me, attraction and like some type of connection, you know, um, and just like companionship. Like, okay, there are some chicks that are boring and don't really. There's a lot of chicks antisocial, don't know how to speak to guys, boring, don't really have good personalities. But if you find the ones that are cool and are fun to be around with, you should put that into your repertoire. Cause I tell you like this, man. So like in my early 20s, I got an apartment. And for a whole year, like I didn't do squat. Like all I did was work, man. Like I sold, I focused on my business at the time, and that was not a good year for me. Actually, that was the first and only time I've ever actually been like burned out. Like I didn't play video games, I didn't watch Netflix. I just focused on getting money, and I did not enjoy that. So what I had to learn was that, hey, maybe there's guys out there that can just balls to the wall, do nothing but work for a year, but I need to incorporate some entertainment within my daily routine to be happy. Like I need like social time and things of that nature to be happy personally. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I can understand that because it's a balance, and not everybody can walk that tightrope. It is something where you have to be high motivation, and then you also have to have those mental reprieves. You have to take those breaks. I talk about that a lot in terms of my mindset videos, in terms of taking breaks. Like even in the space I'm in right now, you got the ferns overhead. I got the corn plants and other trees. I got the lake, the view of my lake over here. And it's like, and then now I've separated my monitors. So when I look forward through my monitors or through a spot in my monitors, I can see my backyard. So I don't have to like, it's not just all monitors, all business,
Right.
You have to have that. And I definitely think that is a valuable thing. And that's kind of like, if we were to say no to tricking, but what is important? What are the things that you really should be looking for? Brother Dollar Will, peace to you too, brother. Appreciate you joining in, man. I think Dollar Will just saw like the word tricking and just started to come in because that just playing. But yeah, so in terms of just looking at the value that you have in relationships, but not only that, but the value you have as a man. Like, let's talk about the importance of you valuing your time and how that can actually propel you. And what are your thoughts on that?
Could you ask that question again?
Um, Dollar Will says, "Ha ha ha, I did." But in terms of valuing your time, how can you, as a man, valuing your time and what you bring to a relationship, what you like bring to other people? And when I say relationship, I mean business relationships and also personal relationships. But the time that you actually put into these things, how can that value or the value you put on yourself actually propel you and motivate you into doing things better, doing things on a higher level, doing things greater?
Yeah, man. I think that you just need to value yourself as a man, right? Like the more you value yourself, the more higher your aspirations, the higher your expectations are going to be, and the better you're going to perform. One of the issues in our community is because it is a gynocracy here in Black America. There's a lot of how can I say? There's a lot of deliberate,
Devaluation.
devaluating of black boys and black men in this community for the benefit of the women in the community, et cetera, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
just to maintain that that female led power structure or buffer class.
right, absolutely. So yeah, you have to really value yourself, like really see men like you in positive positions in a positive light, see them, succeeding in all areas of life, to really understand the high value that you have as a black man. And so, that's really going to affect how you perform, you know, throughout your life.
Yeah, and to elaborate a little bit more, or actually to ask another question, how has valuing yourself actually benefited you? Maybe even in a business deal or a certain situation, or even a personal relationship. How has it actually um, bore something, yielded some type of gain for you? If you can talk about that?
I mean, just in all areas of life. I mean, you have higher expectations, and I have like lower tolerance for bullshit,
Yeah.
and so it's like walking away from a business deal or from a deal with women. If I don't like it, it's pretty easy for me because I have that much esteem and I value myself to that degree. And it's like certain women I just don't deal with, or if I do deal with certain women, it's only on a certain level. So yeah, that's pretty much that has helped me out all throughout life.
Yeah, and I would say that's definitely helped me out too, even recently. With and we talked about building teams. That's also can be looked at as building a mastermind, which is some of the groups that you and I are a part of, and then also just the space in general, the manosphere, Black manosphere. We've actually built a large mastermind by all the content creators that we have. Brother Dollar Will, even brothers like Richard Dixon, talking with him, and then just talking with one another, and showing, okay, hey, listen, I can't do this, but I know this person that can help me. And that's even helped me recently. Yesterday I got a call, and I named my salary, and I said, hey, listen, I want 150 grand. They said, hey, money's not the problem. And I was like, oh shit, I didn't ask for enough. It's like, should ask for more. But
Right.
but what that showed me in terms of the value, and I don't know if I'll get that or not. That's just something that I'm hoping that'll come through. But what that showed me is the relationships and the uh, the the connections that I've made have always bore fruit, even bear fruit, even with my current job, for my day job, working as a web developer, doing an entry level kind of web development job. I was just like, I was really in need of something, and the person that is considered my brother, my best friend, actually really helped me out with that, and I'm always grateful to him for it. And I look at it, and I'm like, whoa, this is what it's all about in terms of brothers networking. But it really goes into not only just valuing your time, but valuing another man and the connections you have with another person. And this goes for females as well, in terms of like some of the female connections that I've made. But in terms of me actually making money, it's been from all my male connections. What are your thoughts on that in personal experience, even if you can go into that?
Yeah, man, it's all about mindset. When a lot of these self development guys and coaches, whether it be high performance coaches, business coaches, when they say it's all about mindset, it's definitely true. It's a tough nut to crack, man. It has an effect on everything in your life, like how you said about the, should have you should have asked for more money thing. That was definitely like a mindset thing on your part. And what I find about it in the black community in general, because we come from such poverty throughout our history in America, we do kind of undervalue our services and products a lot of time, to the point where it's like, it's like you're barely, a lot of times, a lot of our businesses are barely, above water,
Yeah.
because we're so focused on like, okay, the cheapest, the cheapest, the cheapest. You know, which sometimes that strategy could work for, but it doesn't work for all types of businesses. You know, so
Yeah, we often talk ourselves out of a higher paycheck, a higher payday, which is kind of crazy. You know, we already start to negotiate our way down before the call's even ended. You
that's
know,
like a guy. I have a guy right now. Hey man, I appreciate it, but I wonder how he's able, like how is that effective for his business? But he only charges me like $30 a week to cut grass. You know what I mean, or like $30 twice a week, and that's unheard of. Now he's not consistent. You know what I mean in terms of like he might cut it one week and it'll be like 3 weeks before I hear from him again. But
yeah,
hey,
that bargain basement.
that's what you deal with when you deal with cheap prices like that. You know.
Yeah, it's kind of even crazy. Like with my yard, it's like it's like I almost had to beg people around here. So that's another thing where a lot of people don't really. You start to see that in different areas, and again, it's a rural area, predominantly white. So it's kind of crazy when people like. I almost wish I was back in the city with more black people because they would be more hungry about it. You know, they'd be more hungry and saying, "Hey, listen, listen, you need me to cut that? All right, cool, I got you." You know what I mean? Like it may not be consistent, but they gonna come and get their money. You know, like especially when it comes time to get it. So I found a couple good people, but you start to see where sadly. Depending on the area that you're in, it's not the same as metropolitan areas and things like that. So that's one thing I do miss about. Even though that guy's not consistent on your end, at least he comes around and gets that $30 at least once a month. You know what I mean? And your grass is halfway.
Right. Yeah. I mean, $30 you can't beat that. So it's like
true.
I guess I got to deal with the bullshit in that case.
Yeah. Well, that's another prime example of you get what you pay for.
Right. I mean, because he could have charged. He does a good job. He could have charged more than that, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's I guess whatever his mindset is, I don't know, but I'll take it.
Right. And so, I mean, in terms of like possibly closing thoughts here, I mean, we go back over blue pill tricking and how we look at it. What the money that we're spending on women is it just to get access to, or is it just to get sexual access? If it's just to get sexual access, why not just pay for it? And then that comes into a mental thing.
Absolutely.
But then we look at it as like something that you said, which is okay. Sometimes you're paying for entertainment. You're paying for added entertainment by having a woman there, and that's another thing that I didn't really ever think of. I've kind of done that before, but I never really thought of it as like I don't do it often. It's not something
right. Entertainment, companionship, conversation. That's like even Kevin Samuels said. It's like So Kevin Samuels, he's what I call a ladies' man, right? Like you have a lot of guys in the black. Nothing against Kevin Samuels, but you do have a lot of black guys that were raised by women in the black community. They'll tell you straight up, like, man, I don't want to hang out with no dudes. I like hanging out with women. You know what I mean? Nothing wrong with that. I'm more of a man's man. Like 80% of the time, probably 90% of the time, I'm hanging out with guy friends. But there are the times throughout on the weekend usually. I do want to have that female companionship and that female entertainment because it's a different vibe, it's a different perspective. You know what I mean? It's a different type of social, different energy, different type of socialization than with your friends. You know what I mean? And so, I like to enjoy that as well. And like I said at the beginning, for me, it's something I'm gonna do anyway. So it's just like she's along for the ride. It's like I'm about to go out drinking in like 2 hours. You know what I mean? And so I was talking to this Latina chick, and I was telling her the spot that I was going. It's like a little neighborhood bar. She was like, oh well, no, that's not my style. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll be going with somebody else tonight then. Like I'm not going out to appease you. Like you're coming with me and do what I want to do, basically. And if you don't want to do that, fine. I'll find someone else to do it with. It's cool.
Totally understandable. Yeah, and I think that's important. And then the other thing we're talking about is the evaluation of time, the evaluation of your own individual time. And the last thing I want to say about that in terms of evaluation of time is that we as men, black men especially, need to value our time more because we can actually get more for our time. One thing that you said is, in terms of me asking for 150K, you were like, and then I was like, oh damn, I probably could have gotten more. And this happens quite often where we really say, oh, we devalue ourselves, and I think that's just, I think that's something that it sucks, but it is what it is. But I think we need to change our mindset on that. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that every guy needs to do what I call a time audit. And that's just looking at all the hours you have for each day for like a week, and just write down how did you spend that time, and then you can really sit down with yourself for about 30 minutes to an hour and ask like, what do I really want out of life? What are the things I want to do? And once you figure that out, you can look at those two papers and like, okay, I want to do this thing, but how many hours out of my week am I actually putting towards it every week? You know what I mean? So it all boiled down. It all boiled down to like what you want as a man. I mean, because listen, some guys are ladies' men. Some guys are what they call whoremongers, where all they want to do is have sex. You know what I mean? So if you want to have sex and just trick and have sex all day, hey, have at it, man. If you want to be a hedonist, I mean, I'm not gonna judge you on that if that's what you want to do, But you have to try to intentionally, fill your time slots with things that you want to do and achieve in life. And so you have to figure out what type of lifestyle do I want? What are the things that I want to do, on a daily, weekly basis, and fill out your time and spend your time doing it that way.
Yeah, and I think that's very important. You brought up the time audit, and that's a great way to end this. I think men definitely need to actually look at what they spend their time on and say, and then look at what they spend their time on, and then think about their ultimate vision. Do these two things line up? If you put them on, papers beside one another to actually visualize these things, are you doing what you're supposed to get what you want? And I said this in one of my previous videos. A lot of people do not want to admit that they're getting everything that they want out of life. And when I had that realization, I said, whoa, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to or what I should be doing to get what I want. I'm doing what I'm doing what I am doing, and I'm getting what I have right now, and I don't like it. So Can we do more?
I mean, a lot of times, us as humans, we're like on automation mode. You know what I mean? We have those bad habits built in where it's just like, I'm gonna watch Netflix all day. I'm gonna play Madden all day. It just feels so good. But it's like I said, there's nothing wrong with doing any of those things.
No. Earlier today, I was building a path, and I had to go buy 10 bags of gravel. So it's like I was doing something earlier. So yeah, and then after this, after the Netflix session, I'll be doing a live stream, doing a coding live stream a little bit later on tonight, around 9, maybe 10 o'clock or so. So I understand it, but it's like, yeah, go ahead. You're not saying.
Yeah, you just a lot of times you just get caught into the patterns, the habits that you have created over time. Because once you get the habits established, it's very easy to just keep it going autonomously. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so you got to kind of have a pattern interrupt with those things to if they don't align with what you're wanting to do or wanting to achieve. So.
Right. Yeah, and again, as we said, it's very important to do or again, as you said, it's very important to do those time audits and see if these things match up with your vision. And then, as I put in there, it's important that you look at your life and do an audit, so to speak, and say, is this matching up with my vision, my ultimate goal? Am I on the right trajectory? Am I on the right path? And if you're not, change it. If you don't want to change it, then understand you might have to change your vision. With that being said, I just want to say thank you for all those that caught this live and those that will catch the playback. Brother Jesse Veal, we do have his Cash App in the banner going across the bottom here, along with mine. Jesse, where can they actually reach out to you and get some of your content, even some of your older stuff that you've talked about before?
Okay, so You can just search me on YouTube, Jesse Veal, and I'm on pretty much all social media platforms, probably except for TikTok at djesseville. So you can look at my older content because I do have red pill content, but I think I have it locked up. So I may start like a Patreon or something like that.
Yeah, because there was I think you've mentioned that you used to have a blog back in the day, and I don't know if you have that still available, but you used to talk a lot about this in your younger days, and I thought that was something that was pretty cool to like hear. That's like, whoa, okay, you've been in this space for a long time, and you've been making content before it like really kind of got popular on YouTube.
Yeah, I've been making. I've been. So it's funny, right? So I before the Manosphere, it was like the game guys that were around. So like Tariq Nasheed, as Alan Roger Curry, um, like a lot of retired or current pimps, like Rosebud Bitter Dose. So I've when I was a teenager, back in like 2007, I was 17 at the time. I actually started a men's lifestyle blog called Brotherhood of the Game, and so we interviewed a lot of guys like that I just mentioned. We interviewed Tariq Nasheed. Me and my partner at the time was a guy from UK called himself Dr. Chamber. So we started that blog Brotherhood of the Game, and we interviewed Tariq Nasheed, Alan Roger Curry, and a bunch of other guys during that time. And so I've kind of been around, the space before the Manosphere came. I pretty much been around.
Yeah, and
You
it's
know,
primordial ooze.
yes, the great darkness.
Yeah, when we were but blue pill knuckle draggers. You were
Right.
already out here living an elite red pill life.
Right. Yeah. I don't even call myself red pill, man. I'm a child of Zion.
Oh,
It's
okay.
and it's funny because like I don't know what it is, man. Like I don't know if it was the pimps that I was influenced by when I was younger, but I just always like a lot of stuff that's like people come to this space like, okay, I'm red pill. This is red pill knowledge. To me, as a kid, this shit was just common sense to me. Like I
Right.
remember one time in high school, man, there was this chick that I was really attracted to, and I bought her some stuff for Valentine's Day because it was like that was shit you do in high school.
Yeah.
And so I was about to I was about to
Work.
get a chick the stuff. I was like, man, there's some sucker shit. I threw that shit in the trash can. Like, man, no, man. She ain't do nothing to deserve this shit. I don't care how fat her ass is, man.
Yeah. It's funny because this is something that Ed has said before that red pill is just common sense, and I always look at red pill as being deeper than that because a lot of people have, well, quite a few people have common sense, but then red pill is peeling back the layers of that and going a little bit deeper. And I think that's the importance of red pill, where we're looking at studies, we're looking at not just awareness, but we're going even deeper now, and it's a deeper exploration. This is beyond common sense. And I think that is another way of looking at the red pill, but I could also just be rebranding it. So that's one of those things where it's like I say, no, it's more than that. But then I also understand what some people say, because sadly, the level of common sense that people have is very, very low and primitive, and I think should be a little bit greater.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
we'll end it there because the sun is in my eye and I don't have any curtains in here. And I'm looking like I got vitiligo or something like that. So let me get out of here. Guys, as always, thank you very much. Trust, but always verify. If you're not taking what I say with a grain of salt, then you're low on sodium. Research these things, look deeper into it. Go to other people and their content. Go to Jesse Veal and his channel, The Jesse Veal. Hit him up on a Cash App at The Jesse Veal as well. And just show him love and show him, even if it's just to give him likes and subscribers on his content, and hopefully he can produce more content and bring back more of that common sense anti-sucker shit. So, for us
Hey
to
man, Young Grizzly, man, I definitely appreciate you for having me on, brother. I definitely appreciate it. Thank you, bro.
Man, I appreciate
Great
you.
conversation.
Yeah, man. Thank you. All right, guys. Peace.
Peace.